Hey guys, welcome into another episode of the 14, where we're breaking down all of the SEC football betting action this season. Today, we're talking about a week 2 matchup between the NC State Wolfpack and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. This game is going to be played on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville. You can find it on TV on ESPN2. In terms of betting lines, this game opened as a pick'em, but the line has moved in favor of NC State, where they're now a 2-point favorite, and the over-under has held at 55.5. Bring in our betting expert, Christopher Smith. Christopher, what are you thinking about this game between Mike Leach and the Wolfpack on Saturday?
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, actually. I mean, Mike Leach games are always entertaining. And on the other side, NC State may be able to challenge Clemson a little bit this year, especially if Clemson's offensive line doesn't get any better. So first things first, they've got to go into Starkville and see what happens in this game. But NC State's a team that I definitely have a close eye on right now, and I think they're a lot better than people think. But why don't you tell us what's going on around both of these programs right now entering Saturday with Nick's news and notes?
Sure. So let's start with weather and injuries. In terms of forecast for Saturday in Starkville, we got a high of 88, low of 63 for an evening kickoff. That's probably putting us somewhere comfortably in between. No real threat of rain or any wind. So we should have a clean track for Saturday evening in this game. And then from an injury standpoint for Mississippi State, we just got a couple of guys that we're looking at. Wide receiver Malik Heath has been upgraded to probable, so we should see him on Saturday. And then wide receiver Trip Wilson is a question mark with some legal problems. And so we don't know quite what to expect there. But in terms of angles and notes I'm looking at on this game, I'm really going back to week 1 and trying to figure out what to make of Mississippi State, right? This is a game that they beat Louisiana Tech 35-34 in a nail biter where they were down 20 points early in the fourth quarter, and we had all but written them off. But 3 consecutive touchdowns in the final 12 minutes of the game brought them back to a narrow win, and obviously provided some shelter from some criticism that was, if you were on Twitter, already coming Mike Leach's way for being down. I think coming out with the win sort of, kept him in good graces with the people in Starkville to this point. But, if you look at that and you say, well, if it took that to get back against Louisiana Tech, what exactly are we going to see with, like you said, a pretty impressive start to the season from NC State? What are we going to see, when the competition steps up a little bit? Side note, if you watched our video last week, both Christopher and I were really big on Louisiana Tech plus 23.5 in that game, and that was an easy cash. So if you followed us on that, both had that as one of our locks of the week. You enjoyed cashing that ticket with us, hopefully. Some other things to look forward to: a little bit of bad legal issue in the news for Mississippi State this week that maybe has been a little bit of a distraction. Their starting right guard, Quintavious Johnson, was arrested on Monday for, quote, allegedly denting the hood of a 2008 Honda Accord by jumping on it and breaking the door handle of the vehicle by pulling on it. So you got that going for you with your starting offensive lineman, a little bit feisty. And actually, Mike Leach said on Wednesday that he expects him to be available and to play on Saturday. So nothing but headlines and distractions. It may not actually impact the performance on the field, making sure they still have their starting right guard there. And the last thing I want to talk about is North Carolina State and their week 1 performance, where they pitched a shutout, a 45-0 win over USF. They totaled up 525 yards of total offense there. The defense forced 3 turnovers, and both of their running backs were over 100 yards rushing. So pretty impressive performance from them, which leads me to you, Christopher. From a betting standpoint, what are sort of your keys to this game?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've all been there, right? You see an imported car and you just think, man, why don't they buy American? Just start jumping on the hood. I mean, it's such a temptation every day. But, when I saw Circa open this line at Pick'em on Sunday, I targeted it as the first game that I wanted to bet as soon as I had access to a line. And why is that? Well, you look at Mississippi State's offensive line, and they're giving up pressure to 3-man fronts, and that's not good. If you have a timing offense, an air raid offense predicated on passing the ball, running crisp routes, and you're giving up pressure with just 3 guys rushing, that's not good. And when a defense that's decent drops 8 against Mike Leach's offense, which we saw time and time again after they smacked around LSU in the season opener last season, opposing coordinators wised up to the fact that, hey, just drop 8 in coverage and their crossing routes are no longer that effective. And what happened against Louisiana Tech? Well, they turned the ball over 6 times. And NC State's defense that just shut out South Florida is ranked 20th in ESPN's SP+. So on that side of the ball, I don't really expect very much from Mississippi State in this game. And I think they got some major question marks the rest of this season. And it's not long from now before Starkville and the fans, the Cowbell fans, start getting really frustrated, I would say. But you look at the other side of the ball, Devin Leary at quarterback was a game changer last season before he got hurt. He had a kind of a gruesome leg injury. He completed 40 of 60 passes for 500 yards, 501 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in his last 2 games against Pitt and Virginia Tech on the road before he got hurt last year. Those are not easy defenses to go against on the road and perform that well. So he's back. Nick mentioned Zonovan Knight. I think he's probably the best non-SEC running back that you've never heard of before. And he's averaged 5.7 yards per carry for his career, and he's rushed for 90-plus yards in 6 of his last 10 games. And overall, this is a very balanced NC State team from offense and defense. And now with Leary, I feel like their passing game is going to be a lot better too. I actually have NC State slotted at 19th right now in my power ratings. You're not going to see them, I don't believe, in the AP poll in the top 25 right now, but I think they're one of the 20 best teams in the country, and I expect them to turn a lot of heads this season. And I don't think it'll be long before they'll be getting a little bit more respect in the betting market. So maybe that's a tease to what I'm thinking in terms of the pick for this game. But first, I'll pitch it to you, Nick, and tell everybody how you think they're going to be able to win money betting on this game.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't have a strong feeling for my picks in this game. So right up front, if you're looking at me to make you money on this game, don't. But I am going to make picks for the sake of our competition here, since I'm winning, by the way, after a 14-9-1 start to the season in week 1. It's just one game ahead of Christopher. We're both in the black, right, so far. But give me the under 55.5 to start. I didn't see anything that I loved from Mississippi State, save that fourth quarter run there that makes me think that they're just going to run up the points here. And I feel like that shutout from NC State is an indication that it's not going to be as easy to come by points this week for them. However, I do like Mississippi State +2 at home. I feel like Mike Leach has something to prove after that slow start, and maybe they figured a little something out along the way to that comeback win. So that's my picks. Christopher, how about you?
Well, I'm going to go by our best bets last week and say I went 5-1 and you went 4-2. So I'm going to say I'm up a game on the season. But and speaking of best bets, I am all over NC State -2. It was up to 2.5 yesterday. So if you're watching this, it could be higher again. But if you can see a -2 on the board, I'm loving that. Both of them are, of course, under the key number at 3. Anything under 3, I'm all over NC State at this point. And I'll also go with under 55.5. I know Mike Leach's team came back in the fourth quarter, scored 35 and won, and also gave up 34 last week. I'm not going to predict that will happen again here. I think Mississippi State gets held down pretty far. In NC State, they like to run the ball. They'll bleed some clock. They'll make some throws on third down when they need with Leary, but overall not going to be super aggressive on offense from Dave Doran. So just to lock it in, I'll have NC State -2, and I'll have under 55.5. For Nick Cole, I'm Christopher Smith for SEC 14. Hopefully we can get you to the betting window with the cash this weekend, and stay tuned to our channel for the rest of the breakdowns as we look at every SEC game from a betting standpoint.